Now this is one of my favorite ways to get another one, the third one, the old drop set. Now this one here can be a little bit confusing, and I would admit myself that I got confused when I first started doing this because there was no clear, concise rule. And that's the first thing I'm going to say to you guys. When you're doing a drop set, you may not know where to drop, but as you get better with experience, you'll find out what's going to work well for you. So let's actually get into the drop set and what it is first before I give you an example of how to implement this. I'm going to use the bench press because who doesn't like a good old bench press, right? So let's go with a barbell bench press. It's going to be 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. On the third set, let's perform a drop set. So your first 2 sets you would perform as normal, and then on the third set, this is how you perform that drop set. You would then do you would first perform the third set as normal, 8 to 10 reps, given RPE. Then you would drop 1 weight down. How much you drop by is going to be dependent on what you can do. Some people may actually load this to work in their favor. So for example, if you're doing say a 100 kilo bench press, and instead of using 2 20s, you start loading up some 10s instead. That way you can just drop 1 plate and perform a drop set from there. But this is always going to be dependent on what your overall strength is going to be. And as a rule of thumb for people out there, I tend to choose roughly around 10%, as most things, as good as we can. But this is going to be dependent on, once again, you. I'm going to be saying that quite a lot. So say if you're doing a 100 kilo bench press, you do the third set, 8 to 10 reps with 100 kilos, you hit 10 reps, you're cooked after that, you're absolutely exhausted, but you have 3 drop sets to do. Your first drop set, you drop 10 kilos on each side, you're now doing 80 kilos, if I'm correct, and that'd be quick math. Then you perform as many reps as possible, have a bit of rest, rack it up, drop 10 kilos again on each side, you're now doing 60 from the top of my head, and then you perform another as many reps as possible. So from the top, you did 1 top set, you did 1 drop back to an 80, 1 drop to a 60, and that's a 2 drop set, or 2 drop sets, should I say. So you would need to find out what's going to work well for you with this one, because like I said, some of these movements will be dependent on what your overall strength is going to be. Say for example, if I'm doing a Bulgarian split squat and I'm doing it with a 17.5 kilo on one side, I have quite a bit of play to go down to a 10 kilo or a 7.5 kilo. But say if someone who is struggling to be able to get their drop sets because they don't use any weight on a Bulgarian, what you can do is you can implement a different exercise to the same effect. So this could be a Bulgarian split squat body weight into drop set of a split squat with a foot back on the floor. And this will still give you the same effect as a drop set because you now can perform more than you previously could. That's the whole point, just to be able to push out more reps. Now, before we get to the 4th one, I'd really appreciate it if you could help me out here by just leaving a review on my podcasts, because to be honest, I'm not going to run any ads on this. I just want people out there to be able to learn how to train